What's up, everybody? Yo, Doug, it's okay. Go ahead, man. Everyone, relax. You go do what you gotta do. Also, people can't hear you right now. But what's up, everyone? We had to make 7 o'clock. It was pretty important that we made 7 o'clock. So that's officially, how many is that? That's 16 times 2, 32. 32 official on times, plus a few for pipelines, but we made it every single time. Hashtag on time gang. Welcome, everyone. YGBSM on time crew. Welcome, you made it. So yesterday we finished up Horizons. Today we're gonna be finishing up deCoded, and we're gonna do another engineering Ask Me Anything panel. And you know, you're already getting a little glimpse of our panelists, but we're not gonna get started immediately. We're gonna take a break, just sit back and relax. You know, everyone go get your water. And I should go downstairs and get some water, but we have just enough here. But relax. We're gonna do the same thing that we did yesterday. I hope the sound levels are good. We'll do a sound check with the panelists in a few. But yeah, just any questions you guys have. I have some questions queued up already. We'll try to ask a different series of questions than we asked yesterday to the panelists. But queue up your questions. I'll queue them up over here. So if you have any of them, feel free to ask, because you guys can see we got a couple of OGs on here, people you've seen before. Specifically T-Bell in the bottom. I know people are excited to see that man.
I don't know why, bro.
I'm excited to see that man. So yeah, I'm just getting set up over here. Is it storming?
Yeah, it's coming through my headphones. I'm on the deck right now.
Okay. Nah, I mean, I think it's like shaking the house over here too.
Oh, sure.
It's been pretty wild lately. We do have one other person coming in midstream, probably around 7:30. We have a special guest joining. So that should be fun as well. So, you know, we'll have a panel of 5, one more than yesterday, but I really do like the panel size of 4, because everyone gets to put in their input, and you don't spend like way too long on a question because everybody has something to say. Like 4 is like just enough where everyone can kind of talk as much as they want. So we'll probably go to around 9. You know, it felt, in the previous ones we went all the way to 9:30 because we had so many people, and it just felt like, you know, everyone wasn't getting to say as much as they wanted. So it was actually pretty perfect yesterday. Felt like we had gotten through a lot of questions right around 9. But let's do a quick sound check real quick. Everybody just you know, just say a couple words. Just
testing. Yeah.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Check.
All right.
I probably won't go all the way to 9 too.
You look good on y'all. Your sound levels look good on mine. Doug did absolutely nothing. So Doug, you want to give us a little bit?
Oh yeah. I mean, bro, I'm not a follower, so you know.
He said I'm not a follower.
There you go.
All right.
I see the setup over there. He got a whole mic set up.
Right, he's rapping and whatnot.
Yeah. Some bars, Doug. Go ahead, man. Keep that hot.
Drop some.
Yeah, drop some.
God, y'all can go to hell.
Okay. All right.
That was hard.
That was a pretty good bar right there. Way to set the mood. Way to set the mood. But again, welcome everyone. First off, again, pat yourselves on the back once again for getting to the end of this kind of first series of deCoded boot camps. Really great job today. Again, ask all the questions you want. We're about to get started. We're gonna do introductions to kind of get started. Then we'll hop straight into the questions, and as people trickle in, like I said, queue them up. I'll be watching the chat for anything people want to ask, but I have a few over here. But first, let's get started with the introductions. There's people you've seen before here. Again, part of that is because I'm a terrible person, and I actually made some mistakes in the scheduling of this, for one. So once again, some people who always come through for me, which I really love, came through for me again. I appreciate that. So, you know, you're gonna hear a little bit more from some of the people you've already heard from before. But first, let's start in the top left from my screen. I'm assuming my screen looks like you guys' screen, but maybe not. But let's start with Doug. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to give your name. I want you to give where you work, if that's okay. If you're looking for a job, that's okay too. You know, just be honest about it. And your name, where you work, what you do there. Well, you know, one little exciting thing about yourself, I think, would be exciting. Let's go, Doug.
All right, cool. My name's Doug. I'm a software engineering manager for Leafly. That's the weed company. And you said one exciting thing?
Sure.
One exciting thing is people always like I'm from Hollywood. I don't know why, but like I'm from Hollywood. That's where I was born. So lived there till I was 5.
So I put a link to Leafly in the chat if anyone doesn't know what Leafly is. I only put that there just, you know, for reference. I have no idea if they're hiring. I don't know anything about anything like that. But I just put it there so you can check out Leafly. Give you guys a little bit of promotion as well.
We are hiring an engineer and a manager, actually. So
okay, y'all hear that? You go ahead and apply, and then tell them I sent you, so that if there is any type of bonus, I will get it, and I will appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's move over to Alex.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Alex, software engineer at Fearless. One exciting thing, in the before COVID times, I got to go to Vegas for the first time. That was cool.
You didn't take me, bro. That's cool. You know, we like to go to Vegas too.
Alex saw a famous person too. Who you see, Alex? You see Future or somebody?
Future?
You saw somebody famous.
It was at Dre's, wasn't it?
No, I saw the dude from Pawn Stars.
Oh,
that's a big difference.
I saw Quavo. That was when we were in Miami.
Yeah,
that was when we were in
okay,
Miami.
my fault.
oh yeah, Quavo and Saweetie.
I'm like, I know you saw somebody.
Bro, you got to put some respect on Bow Wow's name, man.
Hey, we saw Bow Wow too. We did see Bow Wow.
Yeah, we saw Shad.
We saw Shad Moss. All right, dope. Let's move on to Corey.
Corey. I am not currently working. I'm a PhD student at Virginia Tech. Specializing in augmented reality. Kind of like looking into like intelligent user interfaces. So when phones are dead, I'm gonna be the guy that's next up. Exciting thing about me, well, before grad school, before COVID, I used to travel a lot. 15 countries down and like 200 more to go, I guess.
That is first off, that's impressive. PhD, if I had to take a single class right now in anything, I would fail it because I love to learn. I really dislike school, but that's pretty dope. I wish we could travel right now. I want to go somewhere real bad. That's pretty cool.
Corey, you should tell them where you worked before you went to grad school.
Oh yeah, before grad school, I worked at Intel. My primary job, I was a silicon validation engineer. For like the server products, and there was a bit of a time where I was a computer vision engineer at Intel as well.
You said a lot of words that I don't know, so we will circle back on all those because that sounds pretty dope. We'll definitely dig into your background. That's pretty dope. And let's head over to the OG T Bell over here. What's up, man?
Yo,
introduce yourselves to the people.
For all the new people that don't know me, Terrence, work with Aaron at Mastermind. Aaron said he's going back to you said you're going to go back to the office next week. We'll see, actually.
I'm going to be back in the office. I've been back
in
the
office. You going for real? All right, cool. Oh, for real?
Well, like every so often.
All right, fair enough. I'm over there with Mastermind, man, trying to just teach some software, Aaron has the cloud space. I just got the software side. Just want to help people, learn these tech skills. Lower the barriers to tech. It's for everybody. Anybody can do it. I just want to be a part of that vision, making that thing come true, man. So that's me. Something exciting. Ooh, I was thinking about this. I don't really know. I was people don't know this, but I was born in Germany actually. I was over there until I was 3, and then I moved to Georgia. I have a military family. That's not really exciting, but that's the only thing I can.
We know a little bit more about you now. I didn't know that. So
there you go.
I know Mr. T Bell a little bit more. All right. Also, real quick, where's everybody located right now?
I'm in Baltimore.
Baltimore,
Virginia.
Baltimore,
Blacksburg. I've been out to Blacksburg. You ain't lying about middle of nowhere.
Oh wow.
All right, so a lot of Baltimore folks, I met a lot of these guys here in Baltimore. Baltimore Black Techies meet up, Fearless, all that stuff. So yeah, this is the crew, and we're gonna be finding out about everybody's, everybody's kind of journey in tech. Everyone's journey in tech is different. Everyone's, into different things. Everyone takes a different path, and we're gonna find out about those today. One second, I got a list of questions. What's up, Sean? I was waiting to see the eyes out there. 2 days in a row, right? Everyone told you you're supposed to participate in the Twitch blackout, and I feel like this is a Twitch blackout. This is my version of the Twitch blackout. You feel me? Or no? 2 days in a row.
blackout.
Yeah. So with everything going on right now, apparently everyone found out yesterday that because the gaming industry is you know, you can't get on Xbox without being called the N-word, to be 100% honest. Everyone knows that, like
Right.
everyone of all races knows that that's the truth. To kind of combat that and to bring light to the wildness in the gaming industry, people were supposed to stop streaming yesterday, but everyone found out yesterday, so no one kind of did it. And so, you know, I mean, we had to stay on schedule as well. Like I found out, I was like, this is gonna throw me off, and I didn't know if it was a real thing or not. But yeah, you know, we didn't participate in that, but we are, you know, there's a lot of representation here. I actually wish it could have been honestly though, like, you know, I love my fellow black men, but I wish there could be a little bit more diversity on this panel. That's my fault. That's purely that I waited a long time to kind of reach out to people about this. You know, we've had some women on here in the past, and you know, people from all different backgrounds. I do think it helps because I think people have unique perspectives, but at the same time, I'm also very excited to see all of you because you know, you guys look like me. All right, so I want to hear about I'm gonna dive straight in with a hot topic, and this is usually something you get into a little bit later, and you don't need to be specific about any of this. It is about salaries, but I don't want to know how much you make or how much you've made. I want to know about getting into tech is one thing. And that's a skill in itself. There's a lot that goes into getting into tech. You got to pick up the skills. You got to learn how to interview, all that stuff. That's, you know, that's one aspect of the industry, but another aspect of the industry is navigating it after that and getting to the place that you want to be once you're in, kind of taking that first job and getting to where you want to go. One, does anyone mind sharing kind of, you know, the progression you've taken throughout your career? You know, what your company jumps. Maybe you don't have to tell us any solid amounts, but maybe give us you know, from company 1 to company 2, I had a 10% increase in salary. I took a lateral move, 20% increase. It's just kind of give people a little bit of a feel of what something like that might look like, what a career in tech might look like. Also, tell us how long you've been in the industry. I think all of us are, you know, relatively young, but I think that's important as well. Whoever wants to take it.
I don't mind going if nobody else wants to go first. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I did this last year too on the similar thing with everybody. Let's see. The first job I had, I was young, man. I didn't know any better. Coming from Georgia, I felt like at the time I didn't know they were taking advantage of me, but they were absolutely taking advantage of me. You know, you're bright-eyed. I worked at Untitled Chapter, so I was going from minimum wage to my first real job, which was only $50,000. At the time, I was obviously being taken advantage of, but you know, I wouldn't get so hung up on money on that first career in the tech space, because again, you're just getting your foot in the door. Once you get your foot in the door, and once you have that experience, and you put that work in, you do have to put the work in, then the sky is really the limit. So I would just say, don't take anything crazy low if you're new to this field, but don't get hung up if it's less than, you know, somebody else that you're working next to, or your friends who are fresh out of college, or maybe they didn't even go to college, but they're making more money than you. Don't worry about that. Just know this is the starting spot. This is where I am. This is the first step into my career. And then, like Aaron said, then you're on the mission to figure out exactly what it is you want, where you want to go, and the type of money you want to get. I would say, as far as I'm not going to talk about all the jobs or whatever I had, but the biggest jump, I went from Novetta to Booz Allen. And when I was at Novetta, I was getting $75K, worked there for about 2 years. I was doing biometric software. I was underpaid. I knew I was underpaid, because after a while you start to notice I'm doing a lot of work and I'm not getting paid for it, right? And that's a common theme in development. So, and I knew young, I mean, I was like 26, 27, but I knew, I was about 26, but I knew, I was like, yo, this ain't right. And then my next job was 102.5 starting. So I went from 75K to 102.5. You can't get a jump like that unless you're severely underpaid. At least that's how I felt. So that just validated my own feeling about myself. I was like, yo, I know I'm underpaid. And clearly the market rewarded me for knowing that. Like, but they would have had no problems keeping me at that job at that 75K or 80K or whatever. You know, probably would have got, you know, the with the little, you know, inflation raises or, you know, $3,000 just customary raise in tech every year, which is, it's better than nothing, but you have to know your worth in this industry. So I would, for anybody jumping into this field, know your worth. Don't worry about that first job, but after that, start paying attention to the field and start paying attention to what you're doing and the skills you're picking up, because that stuff is important. If you get a master's degree, if you get a PhD, probably. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna speak on that because I don't have any of that shit. I only have a bachelor's degree, but I mean, it's like if you start getting certifications and you start learning things and you start helping. Not only are you doing your job, but you're doing other people's job, and then you're writing on top of that. Then you're doing demos on top of that, and you're like you gotta know your worth, man. And it's just important as a not just in this field but any field. If you know your worth, I think it'll help you enjoy what you're doing even more, because you're not gonna really fully enjoy it if you know at the back of your head, damn, I ain't making no money though, or damn, I'm getting taken advantage of. Or, you know what I mean? Like, you want to enjoy what you're doing. So I hate to just focus on money because it's not about money. Because if you do this for only money, you're going to be miserable. But I do think you have to know your worth and get paid what you think your, that amount is. Aaron, I totally forgot your second question. My fault.
It's all right. I mean, I can jump in.
That's good.
So like I started weirdly, I mean not weirdly, but like different than you, right? Because like my school, right, it had mandatory internships. Like you had to do internships in order to graduate. So I got my first paying tech job at like 20 years old. I was working for Oracle, and I was making $24 an hour, which was like the biggest thing in the fucking world to me. Because like before that, like the most I'd ever made was like $9 an hour working for like one of those law firms you see on TV, being like, we'll be your personal injury lawyer, calling people about their paperwork. So like to start off making 24 as an intern was like real big. And I worked there for 6 months, and like honestly, like the internship was over and I was like, I don't know, I want to go back to school. Like I had like 24 is big. I can live on that. But then I went back and I did 2 more internships at different places, and I got like 18 one place, 24 the other place. And then like I graduated and I went back to the first place, Oracle, because I was like, yo, it's Oracle, like, even if they don't pay me as much as like some other place will, like it'll be worth it just to have that name on my resume. So I went back there and I stayed there for a few years until like, I started feeling like I was underpaid. And like the reason I got to that place is because like, we got raises, and like they were nice raises. Like 1 year was like $5,000, 1 year was like $10,000. That's not nothing, especially like when you're like my first tech job, I made more than my parents. Like my first job out of college, I made more than my parents. That was like my whole goal in life. I was like, I just want to like do better than my parents did. They did all this work to, force me to want to get education and make me get education, help me get education. Like I just want to be able to say I did better than them. So like my first tech job, like I had kind of achieved like my life's goal as far as education was. So like then I just had to like keep finding new things to challenge myself with. So like then it was like, oh, let me look, and I know some friends who are out in San Francisco making crazy money. Like, oh, let me try to be like them. And then like really what made me like make the switch from there was that, everyone got promoted who like started around the same time, but I didn't get promoted because like I guess my manager didn't get the memo that we could promote people. And then he was like, oh, well, next year. But I was like, I'm already doing the work of like people like 3 and 4 levels above me. And so like because of that, like, I started looking for new jobs, and then eventually I went to Under Armour in Maryland, and like it was like a 40 or 50% like raise, which was like huge. And I'm like, yeah, like you guys were definitely taking advantage of me, because like it's not like I was in like middle of nowhere, like Kentucky or something like that. I was in a major city, like, and so I went to a smaller city and made like a 40-50% pay raise, and then I stayed there for 3 years until like I started feeling like, oh, I want to try something different with my career. And then Under Armour was just going through a lot of changes, and I ended up making a switch to Leafly. That's kind of where I am now, and like overall, like so that's like maybe 6 companies throughout like 8 or 9 years. Yeah, so like probably 8 or 9 years. So like, yeah.
That's anyone else wanna jump in on this one?
I kind of want to. Well, I kind of did one job and went back to academia. That's a whole other story for another day. But I want to kind of circle back to something that Terrence had said earlier, as far as like master's degrees versus PhDs, and like how they affect like your salary. Me and Doug went to the same school, RIT in upstate New York. And I was very much determined to like get a master's, like coming in straight out. Like I got my bachelor's and my master's in computer engineering. And like if money is what you're after, if you're like looking to like maximize your salary, like starting out, masters is the way to go. Do not, and I repeat this, do not go for a PhD if you're looking for money, because one is a time sink. And two, PhDs aren't about salary. Some people will get PhDs to go into academia, and professors don't get paid. You don't get to choose where you live, et cetera, et cetera. However, the thing is with PhDs, you get like next level job security if you get tenure, if you decide to go into academia. But there's the piece about getting a PhD that is something that people don't really talk about too much, is just like that level of intellectual freedom. Like as a PhD, you're like the top of when it comes to like idea makers, and with that, you can kind of make your own salary. I wouldn't necessarily say make your own salary, but like you have a lot more bargaining power. But that time, that extra 4 years it takes you to get that PhD versus someone who's with a master's that's been in industry, you don't recoup that cost that quickly, especially depending on like your discipline. Like if you're, let's say, getting your PhD in like software development versus something that's hot and new and trending like deep learning, computer vision, or something like that. It varies, so you have to be careful of what you're looking into.
Alex, we got to hear from you, bro.
Cool. Yeah, so I when I was college was making about what, like 55K. Was doing that for a while, and then like took a year off, like tried to do the startup thing. Figured why not try it out. Figured that, but doing a startup is hard, man, and doesn't pay that well. Then like also you gotta like do other type of stuff like get investors and all this just so you can like get salary and stuff. And then so like after that, I just was like, yo, I can't do this anymore, and then decided to like look for a job. Came to Fearless. They pay me pretty good, so I'm still here. So that's the end of my story. Very succinct. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, so I have about 9 years of relevant kind of tech experience to what I do now, and in that time I've had exactly 9 jobs. But I did work a few of them concurrently. We've talked about this story the other night on here, and I made one lateral move in that time, but I also started out a lot lower than the people here. I started out, as that first Linux systems administrator, started out at about $36,000 a year. But every jump I made was about 15%, was about 10 to 15%. I had a couple of bigger ones in there that were surprising to me that I didn't think I deserved. But like it was fine. I got a job that I thought was like out of my like skill level. I went from that was 75, and I was like, oh, I'm the man. I'm the richest person ever. No one can stop me. And it was fully remote. I worked there for a year, and then I went and got a job making like 106, and I was like, I'm even better of a man, and I'm the richest person ever again. No one's richer than me, and I'm the best. And that's how I felt. So I made a couple of big jumps. That one was surprising. Like that one was super noticeable, and I really did and I moved back home to save up money, and I my parents were super kind, and they didn't make me they made me pay rent, and they were like cooking me food, even though they said they wouldn't. So I was balling for a little bit. But yeah, I've had a bunch of jobs. And I only bring that up to say I would in the industry, one of the best ways, if your goal is money's not everything. I promise you, money's not everything. One of the reasons why I had so many jobs is because I ended up at places that were garbage, paying me well, but miserable, literally miserable. So money's not everything, so please don't chase the money. But if your goal is money, there's nothing wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make more money. A lot of times the best option is to explore other opportunities, and don't be afraid to do that. I think a lot of times people get into good places, and they're appreciative of what that company did for them, giving them a chance, learn what you can learn, and if you're still learning and you're still happy, stay there. No big deal. But I do think you should be open to kind of making those jumps, because that is how you increase your worth, increase your stock. I think. All right, so we got a couple questions loaded up now that are not mine. I lost it because now I have too many monitors. All right, So Foy Code asks, how do you know your worth? We talked a lot about knowing your worth. I think Terrence, you were talking about this specifically, but how do you know your worth? What are some ways you can gauge your worth?
I mean, I think it all starts with research, right? Like, it's like the main thing, right? You got to like research your field, like what you do, what other companies are paying. And like, I think the best way to do that is to like actually go out and interview places, right? Like if you're, so my personal opinion is that like you should always have like an eye open for like, jobs that are available, like jobs that like are out there, but like you should also like always at least go interview like once a year. Even if you're not interested, even if you love your company, like that's just the best way to know like what else is out there, what companies are paying, and to just make sure that you're keeping current with like the skills that are in demand. And so like it really is just all about like the research and making sure you have enough information to know your worth. And then you have to like actually assess your skills and be like, okay, well, companies are paying this for this position. Like, am I actually good enough for that position? And that's just, like looking at like, they say you should know these things. Do I know these things? Like, can I do these things at a high level? So that's my opinion.
Also, Glassdoor. Glassdoor is good to look at, see what salaries are in the area. Hit up Indeed. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say also to add to that, if you started at a job like, I don't know, in September or whatever month, and you're doing XYZ, and then some years go down the road and you're doing everything, yeah, I would look at Glassdoor and I would do some research, but just the fact that you're doing more than you were, and I'm not talking about one or two things, I'm talking about if you're doing a lot more than you were when you started and your salary has not increased, then you're worth more than what you got paid. Because when you got the job, you were getting paid this amount and you were doing this amount of work. And over time, if you're constantly doing more and more work and your salary is not matching it, again, you can do research, and I would suggest what Doug and Alex said, look up the numbers and people with similar, job skills or whatever. But also, if you're just doing more things than you were when you first started, then you're worth more than what that original salary was, yeah.
Yeah. The research, I think the research part is incredibly important. Because you just never know. Like, you never know. I think that was one of my problems, is like I got what I was earning what I was earning, and I was either okay with that or I wasn't. And a lot of times, again, you'll start to you'll do something called anchoring, and you'll start to anchor your worth to whatever that current salary that you have. You'll start to anchor your worth around that, whether or not it's proper or whether or not it's correct. That's what'll start to happen, and you'll start to base the rest of what you make off of what your current salary is, which can be pretty problematic in the long run. If you're already getting underpaid out of the gate, and you're taking bigger and better jobs where you have more and more responsibility, but you're willing to take, you're only at, like, people are willing to pay you. I think things are changing a little bit, but I mean, if people were willing to pay, 80 to 90K for a role, and you came in, asking for 65 to 75, historically they're going to be like, all right, I mean, shoot, we'll make them feel good and give them that 75, and save a little bit of money, and also make them feel good. But it is hurtful for you in the long run. I would really start to think about. It gets really interesting when you start to do the math about your total earning potential over your lifetime, rather than just kind of in that next position. When you start to see the differences between 5K here and 10K here, it's pretty substantial, actually. It adds up. It adds up, over the years. So just something to be cognizant of. But yeah, also talk to your peers. Talk to, get involved in groups, start to learn what people know. You would be surprised. One of the things that encouraged me to make one of the biggest jumps that I made, other than that 75 to 106 one, was because I went to a meetup, and people there, I knew what positions they were in. I was like, I am just as good as all these people. Like, I really feel like I'm just as good as all these people, and that encouraged me to start looking. So I read the room, talk to people, so you can start to see what people actually know. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got some good questions coming in. So Wally asks, and maybe I should have, no, I'm just gonna read it as is. Wally says, so I'll be entering the software field in 4 weeks from a boot camp. Dope. Congratulations. It will be a second career after 13 years in the military. Also dope. So I'm a bit older. How much of an issue is ageism in tech? Am I less likely to be hired because I'm a little older, even though technically it's illegal? You know what happens, just like racism. Also, are people hiring as much on soft skills in tech as they like to claim? This is a phenomenal question. Lots of pieces in here.
Great question.
But I think, just again to reiterate, the focus of this is ageism in tech. Let's talk about ageism in tech. We know it happens. We know it's a thing. I guess what you're experiencing it. What do you feel about it? Are you seeing that happen? And soft skills. Soft skills is a big one. Is soft skills in tech as big of a deal as people keep saying it is? Can you get by with that stuff?
I'll take the soft skills piece. I feel like as far as interviewing goes, especially if you're like coming out of a boot camp and you're taking like a software dev job, the technical skills are paramount. But once you get your foot in the door, how you climb after that, I feel has more to do with your soft skills and how do you sell your work, as opposed to being technically inclined. Because you could be the best coder in the world, but if you're not good enough at like selling your work and like letting people know I did this X, Y, and Z, then you'll just kind of stay at like a similar playing field. You might get like a bump or two, but you won't rise as high as you should be because you're not marketing yourself.
No, I definitely co-sign that. Like the biggest difference between like a mid-level engineer and like a senior engineer and above is like your ability to be a multiplier for other like people. Like a mid-level engineer can like do anything on their own technically, but like to be a senior, like, principal or anything above that, it's about like your ability to like be a leader within like the team and to like help multiply, which all boils down to like your communication skills, your ability to like, delegate work, communicate, expectations, set standards, processes, all stuff like that. As far as like the ageism part, like I definitely feel like ageism exists. And like it's like happens a couple of different ways. I think like you're probably not going to run into it because people, first of all, really respect the military. So shout out to that. But like I think like the biggest thing that happens is like sometimes there's like a sense or a feeling that like people are like against change in tech. Like we want to try new things, and people are like set on doing it one way because that's how they've been doing it. But I think that happens to people like really of any age. Like once they've been doing something for a while, like I've seen it happen where like people were like 25 and I'm like, bro, like you've been a professional engineer for like 2 years. They're like, no, I've been coding since I was like 15. I was like, that's great, but like this is not the best way to do this. Like there's much better patterns, much better ways to do it. And I think you can so it's just important to like impart upon anyone like you're talking to that like you are open to change. Like, yeah, there's a lot of good reasons to do things one way, but like it's just making sure that people are aware that like you're open and you're flexible.
I would say as far as the soft skills, I think it depends on how bad the company needs that person. Or it's like, say if a company has a contract and they really want to fill that contract and they've been sitting on it for, half a year and they need people, I think they go a little lighter on soft skills and they just want that position filled. So I really think, I agree with everything y'all said, but I also think it comes down to how bad they want to fill that position. How many people are they going to pass up who don't have the soft skills when they know they're leaving money on the table for this particular contract? That's just the reality of the business. That's just the reality of how businesses work when it comes to money and contracts. As far as the ageism, it definitely exists. It definitely exists. I've seen it, not for me personally, but I've seen it happen to people who are just outcast for no other reason than them just being older from a different generation. And I don't like it. I try to, I try to talk to them, you know what I mean, and still make them feel part of, because I want everybody to feel part of it, you know what I'm saying? But I've seen it happen. I've seen it unfairly happen to older people. It sucks because we're all going to get old, hopefully one day, but it's definitely a thing. Yeah.
I don't know how old you are, Wally, but I would say I agree. Ageism definitely a thing. I think the bigger part of it, I think, has to do with what Doug was saying, is that the bigger part of it, it's a thing, and I think the core of why it's a thing is not just because like this person's old, they don't know what they're doing. It is the I've been doing something for so long. The ethos in the past was to, hey, get a good job, stay there. Job loyalty, stay there for a long time. And the problem is you get kind of stagnant when that happens. And so there's that's caused a little bit of it's not good. It really isn't good. But it's certainly a thing. If you went straight into the military, if you're saying you were in the military for 13 years, I don't think you're old enough for this to be a problem, to be 100% honest with you. Now, I don't know how old you are, like I said, but in my experience, this doesn't happen to people in their late 30s, 40s. I think it's the people with the gray hair in the mid 50s is when I've seen it. I haven't really seen it before that. I've worked with tons of people who were mid 40s and older, but I think I've seen it the most with people kind of past that 50-year-old mark, to be 100% honest. So if you're in front of that, I wouldn't really stress yourself too much with it. But the soft skills, I'm telling you, the soft skills are what will get you jobs. That is where, I told everyone I used to interview a ton. The soft skills, yes, you do need to know the technical stuff. You 100%, the more technical skills you have, the better. But the soft skills will get you in the door. They can absolutely get you in the door. And once you're in the door, people can really start to lean on you. You can really separate yourself as being super valuable with the proper soft skills, because it is something that traditionally a lot of engineers don't have. And Will said it yesterday on yesterday's panel. Will said it. He was like, everyone thinks software engineering and engineering is someone sitting in this dark room over in the corner, but it's actually a really social thing. Like I really can't do my job unless I am getting information from a bunch of different sources and finding out solving problems here and there by talking through them. So the soft skills absolutely, I think, are important from my point of view. All right, everyone good on that one? Any more input on that?
Oh, I'd say one last thing about the ageism, just because I forgot about it. The other thing about ageism is that it's just people who have more experience and are older cost more, because you can't pay somebody who's a super senior person the same thing you're paying somebody fresh out of a boot camp or fresh out of grad school. So that's the other thing. Sometimes it happens just because yeah, man, you make a lot of money.
First off, my bad. Thank you, Javen Allen 93. Thank you for all the gifted subs. Everyone who received those gifted subs again, say thank you. Really do appreciate it. That's we really do appreciate the support of the channel. Thank you so much. All right, let's the questions are adding up, and these are particularly good questions. I've noticed that over the course of the panels that we've run, people have started to ask questions that are more specific to their situation, which I think is great, because people never really think about how much this applies to everyone, to be honest. This one's a little more broad, but there's a lot of good questions coming in. So Mad Peanut asks, how many of you have had imposter syndrome when you started, and what did you do to deal with it?
I mean, I still have imposter syndrome now. It never stops. So yeah, of course, when you first start, you're like, I have no clue what I'm doing. How did they hire me? I'm going to get fired the next day. Oh, please don't find out. That's how it starts off. And then once you start getting into the project, once you start ramping up on whatever project you're working on, you start to understand it better, and then you start to understand how the things connect. And then it kind of goes away, but it's still there. And then as you move up from a junior engineer to a mid-level engineer, then you're like, oh, people are relying on me. They think I'm good. Oh, imposter syndrome kicks in again there. And then senior, they're like, they asking me for technical decisions. I'm just a lowly coder. I don't know if this works. So imposter syndrome hits you at each level, but you just have to learn how to move through it, I would say.
Facts.
Major facts. I agree with everything Alex said. That is so true. But for me, my first job out of college, that was the only time I had, I didn't know it was called imposter syndrome. I got a job that I probably don't deserve, you know what I mean? I didn't know they threw me in the fire too. It was a weapons system. We were putting on aircraft carriers, and I'm like, y'all hired me for this? And I was doing Java, and everybody else knew C++, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but and I wrote some pretty bad software. I'm not gonna lie, looking back on it now, but how I got over it, I just outworked everybody. I just wanted to be there all the time. I was there on weekends. I was there. I'm not saying do this, don't do this, because you might burn out. But I was just work. I would do a 60-hour week, like a 40-hour week. Like it was nothing. I would just, I just remember being there all the time after midnight, like coming in first person there. I just worked until I understood the system. I got comfortable coding. It took a while for me to get comfortable actually going from college to actually make professional software. And not only am I making software, I'm putting it on a ship to, it's a weapon system. So, it was, but I love that experience. I was there for 2.5 years, and I just worked. The more you work, the more confident, more comfortable you get in your skills. And that was the only job I had imposter syndrome. After that 2.5 years, I feel like I could do anything. If I can learn any language, I could just pick it up. And I just been riding that wave. So my solution would be to work, but don't overwork yourself. That's what I would say.
I feel like the more people you meet in tech, like the more it goes away. Because like you get to a point where you've met so many people in tech and seen so many people code, and you're just like, bro, you suck. You're just like, and it makes you feel better about yourself. You're like, man, like I know I'm better than you, and you're like 2 levels above me. Like, all right, cool, we're good. I can do this. I'm not crazy. And then like, I mean, it might just be that y'all both suck. Like, but that made me feel better. I was just like, yeah, like the competitor in me came out, and I was just like, all right, like I'm good. Like I'm keeping pace. Like I've seen this dude stuff, and I'm like, I can at least do what he's doing. Like I may not be like better, but I can at least hit that. That made me feel better about it. But I still get imposter syndrome sometimes. Like anytime you step into a new role, a new company, a new tech stack, like it hits.
Yeah, I definitely like to echo that. Like whenever you step into something new, going from industry back to academia, I've definitely been hit with imposter syndrome, because now it's just, even though I've done it before, like I got a master's, I did research, all that cool stuff, but this is a different space, going from like machine learning based stuff to like augmented reality, and that's more like on the human computer interfaces side of things. I still kind of run into imposter syndrome because this is a new field for me. But one of the things that I didn't really hear was just like, it's just like ramping up on knowledge. Like I feel like one reason why we have like imposter syndrome is because we feel like we don't know. And one of the things I've always done to like combat that is at least like as an academic, like I dive into readings. Like if I don't understand this, I'm gonna just keep reading until I can't read no more, until stuff starts to make sense. And at that point, I feel like imposter syndrome just kind of start to like dissipate, because then when people start, it's kind of like when you don't feel like you know anything, and then people start asking you questions, and you just like boom, 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 just out of nowhere, just knock them out in the park. And it's just like, wait, I actually do know what I'm talking about. And then like boom, like imposter syndrome kind of like constantly go away. But you wouldn't really get there if you weren't doing the work and the research and the reading to kind of know those things.
Big facts. So just, we talk about imposter syndrome a lot on here, and I'm just, you can't see I'm covering y'all faces real quick to talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect real quick. And this is what happens. This is where people run into imposter syndrome the fastest. When you start to learn something, there's a paradigm. When you start to learn something, your confidence, when you don't know anything, you learn a little bit, your confidence goes sky high. You learn how to code, you get that variable down, you write a conditional statement, and you're like, I'm the man, I know everything. And your confidence shoots way up because, you get some of that gratification, and it's great, but you don't know what you don't know yet. And what starts to happen is, as you learn more, as you start going up this axis down here of competence, you start to realize the vast valley of things you just don't know. And then you drop all the way down into this valley of despair. And that's the low point. This is where a lot of people quit at. A lot of people get started, they get up here to Mount Stupid, take a dive off, and they get down to this valley of despair once they realize how much it is that they have to learn, how overwhelming of a task it seems. And that's when you feel like an imposter the most, because you know how much you don't know. You're starting to learn how much you don't know. And then slowly, you start to get more and more competent, and you start to feel better about yourself. Your confidence starts to go back up, and you got to climb your way out. You know, I think everybody goes through this Dunning-Kruger effect. I think everyone kind of follows this. And you know, the people who can fight through this valley of despair are the ones I think who make it and who do great. So again, check it out. I will go read about it. The Dunning-Kruger effect. It is a pretty interesting concept. All right. Next question. So that was from Matt Peanut. Sean from LA asks, do you create content as developers for your personal brand or careers? And what does your portfolio look like at this point in your career? Do you all have websites with your portfolios, hella Git repos, or do you write Medium articles, on what your thoughts are for new dev practices and tools? I think this is a very interesting one. So do you do any content creation, for your brand, your personal brand, in your career? What do your portfolios look like? Websites, what do they look like? And do you write any articles to kind of talk about some of your thoughts?
Hell no.
I think one of the things is just like it depends on the type of person. Like I always felt off about this because like in my free time, like I don't really like doing a lot of tech stuff. Like I play like a lot of video games, I watch a lot of anime. Like that's what I do in my free time. Like I travel, I deal hunt, so I can go places for the cheap. That's what I like to do with my free time. So like my free time isn't really like conducive to like a lot of tech stuff, but I will say that if that's your thing, it's extremely helpful having like a portfolio and a GitHub and all that cool stuff. Because when it comes down to like those interviews, you can just point to, here's my body of work. Check that out, and then come talk to me. But yeah.
I feel like I do a lot of tech stuff in my free time, but like I do stuff to like explore. So like it's not finished. It's never something that's like I want to show to other people, or certainly not put on my GitHub where other people can see it or like make a website. I feel like every like person who does web has been saying they're gonna make a portfolio website for pretty much their entire career, and like only like 5% of us do it. For real. But I mean, I do have some other stuff. Like since I got more involved in like the tech community, like in like Baltimore where I'm located. And so now I have like some tech talks that I've done, like some stuff like that I have, and I guess theoretically I could show it off if someone asked for it. But like even that stuff, like I tend not to make it super technical. I tend to do like my talks on like more of the process stuff, more like like because I feel like you can read 17,000 different articles on like how to make a website in React, how to make a API. So I tend to do like more interesting stuff, I feel. Terrence, what are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, taking a picture of the sky.
My fault. I did.
You bird watching?
No, it was I'm nothing, man. It's embarrassing now, bro.
You gotta say now. You gotta tell us. We can't.
No, I'm not telling y'all,
bro. We cannot move on.
Oh, we're moving.
Until we're moving.
Okay, bro. It's a double rainbow, right? I never.
Bro.
Like it's like 3 rainbows almost, bro. Like it's one and then it's another one and then it's like another one behind. Anyway,
all right.
This is why I want to talk about it, man.
Rainbow. I feel you.
It's a double rainbow.
It's a double rainbow.
I didn't expect it to be that good.
I didn't expect it to be that good at all.
No, come on, man.
Alex, you write any Medium articles? What's your portfolio look like right now? You got sites, GitHub.
I did, and then I neglected it. I don't know. Portfolio is hard to keep up with that now. Like once you like start working, like your work like shows for itself. So portfolios kind of fall to the wayside because like I don't know. Like also we're developers. We're not really designers, so I don't really have the design chops to make a really good looking. I can make it like a basic, like decent basic looking site, but other than that. I just like don't do that anymore.
True. My bad. This man is really trying to get a premiere picture of this triple rainbow. I love this, yo. This is there's gonna be memes made about this. I love this. He's on a mission. Yo, show us your
Oh
screen.
wow, I see it.
Show us your
I
screen.
see it. Oh, actually now it's coming out.
Hold on. Let me check it out.
Okay. Y'all see it?
I can't see it, but it looks like
it's crazy.
I see
crazy
it.
outside. All right, We're trying to see the triple rainbow. It's you know, we
Doug over there, like
we like nature. We like nature too. Rainbows are cool. You know, you don't see rainbows that often.
I mean,
we're not
the triple joint.
We're not down the street. Well, they're kind of down the street. Doug and Alex are down the street from each other, like literally down the street. But we're all in the same. You know, we're all in Baltimore.
Alex went outside to see the rainbow. Like,
yeah, the rainbow. Yeah, it's like coming out of the like World Trade Center building and like going over the Light Street building.
Talking about rainbows, they see a triple rainbow out there. Did you see it? No. I just told Ashley that you all are looking at the triple rainbow.
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's get back to the tech stuff from the triple rainbow. Thank you, Terrence, for the you know, the sidebar. Whoa, hold on. Okay, sorry, my mouse was doing something. Pigtown Boys.
We cannot say it anymore.
Okay, so the real deal asked a little while ago, did you ever hit a wall? And what did you do to overcome it? So I think this question was in terms of your salary when it was asked. I'm pretty sure that was the context when it was asked. So have you ever hit a wall with how much you're making? And if you did you do anything to overcome it?
Yes. I feel like you always hit a wall like when you stay at the same company. And so my solution to hitting the wall at a company is to leave. There's always someone who will pay you more, whether you enjoy working there or not. You know, that's something you got to figure out on your own. But like I said, I think you should be interviewing all the time, like regularly, like, you know, seeing what's out there. The other thing, like sometimes you run into a wall is that like your physical location matters for some reason still. Like, yeah, you like, you know, if you're like in a small Midwestern town, you're not going to make as much as if you were in San Francisco. I mean, but like there's cost of living differences, and so sometimes it evens out. But like, you know, that's always an option. You know, if you hit a wall, like, hey man, like look outside, like, you know, the area you are. Maybe there's reasons you want to stay where you are, but like, you know, look, $100,000 change your mind because like, you know, you go to San Francisco, like they might just give you a extra $100K to do that. So,
big facts. I want that extra $100K.
Me too. Oh, don't we all?
I ran into a wall twice actually, but that was because of the nature of the work. Kind of, I ran into a wall kind of as like things have kind of, you know, salaries have gone way up kind of over the years, but when I was doing just like Linux systems administration in the area, I had kind of peaked out as, you know, I had kind of reached where I was going to go, and that's why I actually moved into DevOps roles, because that's where the money was going. And the way I got around it was to pick up the skills to move into a more lucrative field, even though I was doing much of the same things. So I highly encourage you all to. I think tech is so similar. The different disciplines in tech are so similar. I would I would take a look at them. You know, even if you're doing one thing, you might be one or two tools or one or two skills away from moving into one that is more lucrative. So I checked that out. But that's all I did. I learned a little bit more to kind of move into something else, use the skills that I currently had that kind of overlapped in that industry, and that's what I did. All right, so don't hit a wall. So Comb 82 has two questions. How did you level up your skills in order to achieve experience for a job? That's number one. And what kind of video games do you like? I love that your English was perfect. You said sorry for your English. Your English was perfect. Those are two amazing questions. So what did you do to level up your skills? And then what video games do you like?
Well, I guess like one of mine is pretty obvious. Like the background, like I'm real, like I'm a fanboy for CD Projekt Red. Love The Witcher 3. Basically I haven't played the first Witcher, but all those are pretty lit. Call of Duty, but to answer I feel like the more important question is just like, for me, like especially like getting into software is like I spent a lot of time on LeetCode. Like I've interviewed with Google like a couple of times. I've interviewed with Pinterest. I've interviewed with a lot of places, and like one of the most helpful pieces was just kind of like banging out problems on LeetCode. And just kind of like getting in the mindset of thinking through a problem, being able to work through a problem, and then being able to explain that problem, and then like code it all within like the time frame of like 45 minutes. That's probably like been the most helpful thing for me as far as like gaining the skills that I need.
I would say, so definitely I agree. Like it sucks because like a lot of those skills aren't the skills you would use like day to day in an engineering job, right?
Exactly.
But like I mean they do come up, and so that's why they ask them. And so like for better or worse, yeah, like getting good at leak code is like the way to like get your foot in the door through like one of those technical interviews. I think the other thing that really helped, which I didn't even realize until I started doing it, was teaching. Like teaching something to someone else or like trying to like explain concepts to someone else like makes you so much better at it yourself, because like there's all these assumptions that you just made in your head and connections you've made in your head, and it's not until like you have to try to explain that to someone and are forced to like put it into words that it actually like really coalesces in your mind. And it's like, so to me, one of the best ways to get better at like your own craft is like to try to teach it to others. So like I started like helping out the community by like trying to help teach coding classes, et cetera, stuff like that, and it made me so much better.
Big facts. Anyone else?
I'm all about Warzone, Call of Duty, FY.
Yeah, about Warzone and Valorant is a great game. Yeah, level up. Also, sometimes watching screencasts like help out, like Destroy All Software. I used to watch that, and I was like, oh wow, like seeing how other people code, like looking at GitHub, looking at open source libraries, just looking at how other people code, and like using that with your code and seeing how they did that, like helps you level up because you get to see different things. You say, hey, I didn't think of it that way, and then you see how software works together besides like working on a project at your work.
Yeah. I definitely so the way that I did it and the way that I generally recommend people to do it is I think things come in two phases. I think there's a period of time where you're learning the tools, where you're like learning how to do the thing. And then there's a period where you're learning why you're doing the thing, and the why you're doing the thing is more important, and like truly understanding how it fits into the grand scheme of things, all that. That's the more important piece. But I think it takes time to kind of get there. It takes much longer to get there. So I would say at the beginning to level up, I think you need to like learn how to do the thing to start out. Like you need to hop in and get hands on and go through a tutorial that does a specific thing, understand what you just did, and start to learn the tool, pick up the tool. But as you're going through, you need to start to learn why you're doing it and what problem the thing that you're doing is solving. And then once you're there, I think that I no longer really hop into tutorials unless like I really just need to learn this one thing right now. I do go to like screencasts and stuff. I go look at entire projects, kind of understand the project as a whole, and it actually makes it easier for me to learn how to do the thing when I understand what it is that we're solving for, like what the problem that we're actually solving really helps me to understand how to do the thing now. So it's really interesting. It kind of flipped my process kind of flipped on its head now. Yeah, so it's a little bit weird, but video games, I was a huge, gigantic Overwatch fan. I played Overwatch for like 4.5 years or 4 years, however long it's been out. Played it nonstop, and then these guys got me onto Call of Duty, so I'm on the Call of Duty train right now, and Valorant as well. I play a lot of other, like a couple of other single player games. I'm almost through Doom, through Doom Eternal, almost through it. But yeah, that's really all. I have a lot of games. I have a lot of PC games because Steam sales, and I will say the one thing, if you like video games and you get a job in the tech industry, you're probably gonna have enough money to afford to be able to buy all the things at a Steam sale. Don't do your best not to, because you won't play any of them, and you'll have a ridiculous library of games that you don't need because they cost $6.99 and you could afford it. So be careful about that. All right. We got a question from YGBSM. Question: What's one thing or a few that you wish that new devs would do more often when they begin working with you? This is a phenomenal question. This might be the best. This might have to get an award for the best question that I've heard so far. At least, yeah, this is really good. One thing or a few things that you wish new devs would do more often when they begin to work with you. Phenomenal. Don't make me call them people.
Ask more questions.
Hold on, say that question again. What's the question?
What's one thing or a few things that you wish that new devs would do more often when they begin to work with you?
Don't be afraid to code. I found it a lot of, even at Fearless, when we had new people start, they were timid and didn't want to break anything, which is a good thing to think about, but hey, you're not coding, checking it straight to production, so you're not going to break anything. This is your local computer, this is your local, GitHub or whatever. Just go in there and start playing around with the system, as opposed to trying to contribute automatically. Just figure out how things work. They're so scared sometimes to go in, because I guess they have either imposter syndrome like we did, or they think that we're going to think they're stupid or dumb or don't know this or whatever. Just go in and just have fun, figure it out. Like, take more initiative to break things. You won't break anything, trust me. Just don't be afraid to figure out how the system works. And if you break a local build, then you break a local build, but you're new. So now's the time to break the local build, because you just started, not 8 months from now. So just take more initiative, man. And don't be timid. Don't be scared to get your hands dirty.
Bro, talk. If you haven't taken down prod at least once, are you even engineering? But I would definitely second what Alex said, and asking questions. I get, because I was there. You don't want to keep harassing the people who are, because you think they're so busy, and it's intimidating to keep asking questions. But as someone who's had a lot of junior employees, a lot of junior engineers, a lot of interns who I've worked with, I would much rather you ask me 1,000 questions repeatedly than take off down the wrong direction, right? Because the more you ask me questions, I may work slower in the short term, but long term the whole team's going to be moved faster, because you're going to get more comfortable about moving at your own speed and doing stuff. So I would definitely say asking questions. The other thing about asking questions, the only time it gets annoying is if you're asking the same question repeatedly. So ask questions and then document the answer, take notes. That's what I do. Even now, when I start a new company, I ask questions and I use Evernote heavily. And so I will literally just end up with 40, 50 different notes with just oh, here's how you do this, here's this command that you should run, here's this place to check. I have just folders of bookmarks of different documentation, different links, and that stuff is helpful, so I don't go back and keep asking the same question over again.
That makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Also, if you hop on, ask if you could pair for senior dev, maybe for a week or so. I know someone in the chat said they left Pivotal. I know Pivotal is all about pair programming 100%. Maybe just ask to pair on something, or get a little brain drain of how the project works.
I like the ask to. I really love the ask to pair thing. No one's ever asked me that. But yeah, it's always interesting. I really like all the ask questions. I do like that. But at the same time, I think one of the things that I've seen with newer devs is that they're afraid to. I get it. I understand being afraid to mess things up, to do things wrong. I think that companies and senior devs need to, start to make people feel right up front, make them feel comfortable enough to say, hey, it's okay. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make big mistakes. Give them the freedom to do that. But I wish that sometimes newer devs would spend a little time just exploring. I think you learn so much from just exploring the problem, even if you make it nowhere. I don't want you to do it for too long, and I think that's the biggest problem. I think that's the biggest danger of this, is that you can go down rabbit holes, and I think there's a skill in knowing when to ask for help. But I think that more junior devs, when they start working with more senior devs, can get into the habit of, hey, I don't want to spend, I know we have to get stuff done, so let me ask the question here. But I think you just learn so much from that blind exploration of I have no idea what I'm doing at all. I don't even know what to Google, so I'm just gonna start somewhere. You might not learn anything about the problem that you're working on, but you'll learn a ton going from from where you are to where you end up And again, only do that if it's, you know, okay, like make sure it's okay first. And again, I would encourage everyone who is in a position to mentor or have a junior dev underneath them, like make sure they know that that's okay. Make sure, you know, they're not afraid to, and if it's not okay, if it really isn't okay, let them know that too. Make sure they understand those expectations. But I want a new dev to, when they work with me, I want them to explore. I want them to try stuff. Like, you know how we do it on stream, you know, I want to see if it's going to work. You know, it may not, like, I'll change the whole code up just to see if I can get us, you know, just to test out a theory or something like that, even if it's not even in pursuit of what we're doing. I don't know, explore, have a little fun, but that's just me. All right, we got a question from, hold on, I lost my sheet. We got a question from Dub. First off, what's up, man? How's your, is your knee okay? I hope your knee's all right. You know,
is this Doug from Fearless?
No, not Doug.
Oh, okay.
Hope it's all right, man. I didn't mean to call you out. I'm just hoping. First off, thanks for coming through. Thank you for the support. But I'm just hoping. You know, did you ever recover? Because we didn't see you. I didn't see you the next year at we all, me, Doug, we went to the conference the next year, and we didn't see you there, man. We definitely didn't see you there. But yes, is anyone working on any interesting projects outside of work? This is a good one. I think you guys touched on it a little bit, how you kind of felt about this, but is anyone working on any interesting projects?
Does my research project count?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not really outside of work since I'm a student, but like since I'm a grad student right now, one of the things that I'm working on is this thing called virtual loops. Let me see if I can actually get it in the camera. Like if you're familiar with like AR, oh dang, it doesn't show because the background. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this real quick. No background. Boom. I just like my back. So this thing is like the Vario. It's like it's a fancy AR headset, but it's like a video see-through AR headset. So like these two right here, like cameras. So like you put the headset on and you can see through those cameras. I'm more or less like working on like a project that'll like help like surgeons in general, because like when surgeons typically when they're doing surgery, they'll wear like these things on their glasses that are basically like big magnifying glasses that allow them to like see it like higher magnification. Like let's say you like sewing up veins and whatnot, you're not gonna be able to see that with like your eye. But the thing is with these loops, they only come in one set level of magnification. So like the surgeon had this idea like, yo, what if we use like AR to like encompass multiple different pairs of loops, so you're able to like see at different levels of magnification. But the key piece is just like how you control going to those different levels of magnification, because like in a surgical setting you got to be sterile, so that means you're not really going to be controlling this with like a joystick or a mouse or something. It's either going to be like gestures. Speech is bad because you know surgeons have to communicate with one another, and or you could use like gaze, so like looking like on the screen to kind of like activate different levels of magnification. So that's something I'm working on. I'm using like Unity, coded in C# and stuff like that. That's been taking up most of my time this summer.
Now everyone else's project sounds stupid because that was an epic project. You know, I'm over here trying to make a Gatsby site, and you're you're helping people save lives.
I'm broke. I'm a PhD student. You know, there's gives and takes.
I mean, I feel yeah, you're right. There's definitely gives and takes there. But that is pretty dope though. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing more projects, but that's because I'm gonna be doing them on here. But before this, I did almost no projects outside of work. I learned a lot outside of work, but I didn't have any like passion projects. Again, just like Corey said, like I have a lot of other interests. I said yesterday on stream that my motivation, the things that keeps me motivated is I like tech because it allows me to practice the other things that I like to do. Whatever that may be, video games, you know, cars, all that stuff, like, you know, so I go do those things when I'm outside of work. So, you know, I do think it's cool I do think it's cool if you like to use tech to do cool projects and stuff, but you know, I don't want people to feel, I've seen people feel like I've seen people get imposter syndrome because they're like, oh, all these people are working on this cool stuff on their own time, but I'm not. Like, nah, it's not, you don't need to do that. You don't have to. All right, we got another one from Foyco that says, what should us newbies do to stand out for junior software positions? This is also a great one.
Means like to get hired in a junior position. What should he do to stand out?
Yep, I think so.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if there's something necessarily you can do to stand out. Like I saw people in the chat, you know, talk about like portfolios and being active in your community and, you know, giving lightning talks and organizing stuff like that. And like, I think that's all great. And it does help, like, you know, if you're trying to find jobs within like your local community. But, you know, for me, I think the biggest thing that like anybody should do, but especially people who are juniors who are trying to get a job, is just apply more. And what I mean by that is that like, people like don't apply to enough jobs. Like people think, you know, like, oh, I applied to 10 jobs, 20 jobs. Like I haven't heard anything back. Like everything's awful. And I'm like, yeah, like you gotta apply to like hundreds or thousands. Like my first tech job, I literally applied to like 400 places. Like honestly, like 400 places, did like 15, 16 different like, you know, on-site interviews, not to mention like the 30 or 40 like phone screens and like assessments. Like it's just like there's a lot of tech companies out there, and like they always talk about there's a shortage of tech people, but like there's still a lot of people out there applying for tech jobs. So like, and like it is hard to like hire a junior, because like a junior, like you have to have a company that like can have a junior who like has people who can help you be better, and so you're not always a junior. It's like a company can really set you up for failure, like if you go and like they don't have the capacity to like, you know, train a junior. So I always say, like, you know, the number one thing is just like apply to more places, like lots more places.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say the other thing is like to increase your odds. I really, really, really like go out and meet people. Go to meetups, and it's a little bit harder now. So you have to try to find some virtual things, but like going out to meetups and stuff, like people do, contrary to popular belief, people do like to help other people, and people in particular like to help people who seem to be trying to help themselves. For some reason, humans, we take to those people the most, and you would be surprised, you know, the world is built off of people putting people into positions because they like them. People, you know, like people notoriously hire people they know. People look out for people that they know. When someone comes across a position, you know, maybe someone brings it up, like, you know, I met that person who reached out to me at this thing. So I would get out, I would meet some people, you know, make sure your intentions are known. I think that helps a lot. And I think what you can do in lieu of, I think a lot of times when people are asking about, you know, what can I do as a junior engineer? I think what you can do in lieu of maybe like crazy advanced technical skills is, again, focus on those soft skills a little bit, and kind of your being able to explain what you know. You know, there are things that you do know. Get really good at explaining those things that you do know. I think can help a lot. It can help you get through some phone interviews pretty easily, and kind of focusing on those things rather than trying to pick up all the crap that you don't know yet. Kind of focus on those things that you do know and learn how to explain them really well. I think that can help you stand apart as a junior. All right, so we talked a little bit just now about, you know, I said get out there and try to get to some meetups, but we're in this new COVID-19 world. We're quarantined, and that means that a lot of jobs now, you know, every engineering company that said, hey, we can't hire remote people, now has nothing but remote staff, right? So more companies are open to, you know, the remote hiring, which is going to be great. I think it's really going to open up the doors for a lot of people to, you know, you no longer are going to need to be, you know, stuck in a certain place in the country. Your location's not going to matter as much. I think it will, but not quite as much. I think more companies are going to be more open to remote hiring. But in this one, do you all have any advice for effectively being able to do your jobs remote. I think there are some huge caveats that come into working remote as opposed to in the office. We talked about some of those things last night, but one, what is your experience? How's your experience been working remote? I guess difficulties, things you like better, and any tips or any advice you can give to anyone who's about to start a job or working remote, they can do to kind of make sure they stay productive and a competent member of their team.
I'll jump in. I guess there's like two main things. One, set a schedule and stick to it. And this is me telling myself my own advice because I'm still trying to do that. Figure out something that makes you want to get up in the morning and do that first. And get in the habit of consistency. Whether that be going for a run or what have you. And the second part is get some, if possible, because I got roommates. But find a place that isn't your room to do work. So like have like your designated work area versus your designated play video games, lose at Warzone area. Because it'll help greatly. Because then you kind of get in that mind space of just like, all right, cool. I am at work, even though I'm still in the same place, looking at the same walls. But yeah, those two things will help drastically in this whole new, as much as I hate saying this new normal of how things go with COVID.
First off, thanks Alex for coming in hot. CSB with the gifted subs. That is your panelist Alex who donated those. So thank him. Appreciate it.
Start sub train, yeah.
I mean, hey, hey, I'm not gonna stop it.
Trying to make the rest of us look bad, yo.
Azufo coming through hot. Thank see, I like I said, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. This community has been phenomenal. I all I can say is thank you. I do appreciate it. You guys are gonna. I'm using all these subs to go in and make some danker slides with even better GIFs and memes on them, because that's the key to learning tech is GIFs and memes and jokes is the best part. But thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, everyone. Again, thank you, gifter. I do appreciate that. Anyone else have any insight on working remotely? How you feel about it? What people can do to be effective at it?
Sure. Am I muted? No, I'm not.
No, you're good.
I think one of the big things for me is that like I used to hate working from home because like I was either like too into work or like completely not into work, right? Like so I was either too distracted and like Netflix, I'm taking naps and like I look up and I haven't done anything all day, or like it was an alternative, and because there was no one like walking by being like, hey man, see you tomorrow, like I'd look up and it was 11 o'clock at night and I was like just super into work. So for me, like getting like a dedicated like workspace, a place where I could like that was like not just working on my couch, not just working in my bed, like an actual desk. I could sit down and be like, this is the place where I do work, and I do work here. And like when I'm not working, like I go somewhere else into my house, and like having that physical separation. And like I get that not everybody can do that, but like even just like putting a desk in your bedroom, like if you have roommates and being like, I do work here, I don't do work in bed, has been a big difference for me in terms of like how productive I feel and how able I am to focus on work. The other thing is clean your room. That's one of the biggest reasons why I stopped working from bed, because like I'd look up and like I spend all my day on like video calls and it's just like my room is a mess and I'm like camera off. Like now I'm like in my like little office and it's fine. I have like books. It's way better.
I feel you on the like clean your room. I mean, I'm not saying that as like it like having a clean space or like straighten up your space can change the way you feel when you're working remotely so much. You have to do it often. It's easy for your stuff to get out of order. Like right now my desk is it is not the prettiest right now. There's also like random like there's like a whole monitor mount like over here and like stuff like right there. Just stuff just happens. Like look at this fingernail clippers just on the desk. Like I don't know why they're here. I don't know why they're at the desk. Like just
You're
stuff.
clipping some
Just,
fingernails,
I
bro.
mean, but I wasn't though. I don't. Well, at least I don't remember doing it. That's what's sad. You know, days are kind of merging together a little bit. It really.
This really made me like organize my whole life. Like I haven't spent money on anything except for like office supplies. Like I bought a file cabinet, a standing desk. Like before I had like this little tiny desk and it was like just covered with papers and game controllers and CDs because you still have CDs apparently for everything you buy.
Yeah. A coworker today told me like what's weird about working from home is like you can get to like you definitely need to set a routine and make dedicated space for your work versus your home life. Because separation can be tough. I think he said that someone else had told him that like it feels like, you know, when you're at work because you're still at home, like it feels like you're not giving, you know, you're taking time away from your family. And then when you're, you know, with your family, you know, spending time with your family, it feels like you're, you know, taking away from your team members and not giving your all to your team members at work, which seems really interesting. And it can really, you know, if you don't create that separation of space, it can feel pretty weird. When I had my first fully remote job, that's, you know, I left there. I love that. I really did love that company, but I left because like, that's how I felt. I felt like I was constantly at work and like, it was just it was like a part of my life. It was a part of my daily life. Like just, I don't know. It was really weird. I couldn't really separate the two that much. So definitely make sure you, I don't know, separate those things if you can. And another random thing that's on the desk. Look at this. What was happening? Yeah, I don't know. There's just stuff here. You know, not dirt, just things. I don't know what okay. I don't know where it came from.
Sound like a hoarder, bro.
No. I do know where it came from. I knew where it came from. I told y'all, I told you in a year, I'm gonna be indistinguishable from The Rock. And that means I gotta get some more tattoos. So I think I have put in a little, I have someone creating something for me. And they made me measure my arm.
Let's go.
Bro, indistinguishable from The Rock, like, and you jump to tattoos, not like the muscles.
You know, I went for a bike ride this morning. You know, I went for a bike ride. You know, I did a couple of dips. There we go.
Have you seen his diet, bro?
You know, hey, huh?
Have you looked at his diet? How much food he eats?
Yeah, I can. First off, that is not going to be a problem. Eating as much food as he eats is not going to be an issue.
It's like 8,000 calories.
No, I've been doing that my whole life. Okay. I have no problem. I have no problem doing that. All I gotta do is just get back in the gym, you know, and just, I drink some Avion tequila. No, wait, he has his own tequila now. What is it called?
Yeah,
that tequila. I'll start drinking that tequila.
Terramana.
Yeah, Terramana. You know, and I'll go be Hobbs and or is he Shaw? I don't know. But
no, it must be some money in the liquor business. Everybody, actors and rappers got liquor. Like it must be real money to make.
Cool. Well, then we'll make
it's
one.
It's just an excuse to always have alcohol on you. Like,
well,
I'm not an alcoholic. Yeah. I'm just working.
Well,
out here marketing.
You want to know how I know it's going to happen? Because I don't follow The Rock. I do not follow The Rock on social media. And this morning when I woke up, someone had posted one of his videos in their feed. And like when I was getting up to go do my workout, so I was like, "Oh, perfect! This is destiny calling. You know, I'm gonna look like this, and people are gonna be like, yo, when did The Rock learn tech?" And you know, it's good. Under Armour is gonna accidentally send those checks to me, and I'm gonna get some movie roles. It's gonna be phenomenal. You know,
I think you'll be a good actor, actually.
Appreciate that, Wally. Thank you so much for the bits. Really do appreciate the love and the support. Okay, hold on. We do have some more questions. What time is it? 8:23. Everybody good? We're gonna go to just about 9. So you know, if you need to get up and get some water, feel free. You know, this is a chill event. You know, you can step away. You know, I don't know if you have kids or anything like that. Actually, does anyone here have kids?
Nope.
See this.
I don't want to say fuck no again, but
this is a homogenous panel, which you know. Okay, let me pull up. Hold on, Let me pull my questions back up because I was not grabbing questions. So I don't know if anyone asked it. I might have missed them. I'm sorry if I did. I'll try to go back and find them if I did. But let me go ahead and pull my questions back up for you all. Yes, good one. Worst tech job blunder. What's the worst thing you've done, or the most traumatic experience you've kind of had tech wise, at your job? Like, not specifically about the work that you've been doing. Anyone, you said it, Doug. If you are you really an engineer? If you haven't taken down production, what's your most traumatic experience?
I'll definitely go.
I don't want you to relive it.
If nobody else wants to go, I'll go.
Actually, you always had the great stories. Go.
Also, where are you and where are you going?
Yo, so I was in my. It's all dark, bro. It's my apartment, but it's hella dark up in here. But I was just walking to the bathroom. I had some shit in my eye. But that's the TV.
I was gonna say Mastermind doesn't pay enough for you to afford lights.
Big facts. Yeah. The biggest facts.
Yo, come on, don't do that.
Hey, we got lights over here though. We can change the colors of them. You see that? Hey, we.
But that's hilarious.
He lives in darkness, so we can live in light.
Yo, sacrifices, bro. It's all about sacrifices. So we were this is when I was in booze. This is when I worked in Department of Justice in DC. And apparently what happened was they had some people come in. No, it wasn't extra people. It was internal people on the network team decided to apply a patch to all 64-bit applications, but they didn't apply it to 32-bit applications. So, and this patch was like a security thing, and also like touched, it was some DLLs. I was coding C# at the time, the .NET framework, so everything boiled down to a DLL and executables. And they applied a patch that affected all 64-bit programs. And somehow that started to mess up our 32-bit application. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I might be messing up the story, but basically what happened was the application that I was working on, was a 32-bit application, and it was for the FBI doing criminal investigations. And after that weekend, and I'm pretty sure I'm messing up the technical details of it, it was years ago, but after that weekend, the user, which was the FBI agents, weren't allowed to save or create new applications. So they would go through the entire application, putting in the suspects, putting in all the signatures they had to get, talking about the criminal case. I mean, this was like, I was working on a system that actual FBI agents were using to create, investigations and stuff like that and get the approvals, because it was a paper process before. So we were automating that. So after that weekend, they weren't able to do it anymore, which was halting the creation of new FBI investigations. So as you can imagine, the visibility of that, after that weekend, it was like one day it wasn't working anymore. 2 days it wasn't working. 3 days it wasn't working. And I was the developer on it, right? And I was like, I don't know what happened, bro. Like, I have no idea what happened, because it was a more of an infrastructure problem than a application problem. So we had 3 environments. We had dev, test, and prod. Dev, I couldn't reproduce it. Test, was I able to reproduce it in test? I can't remember if I was able to reproduce it. No, I couldn't reproduce it in test, and it would only happen on prod. And prod is where they did that, that special patch or whatever. So it was impossible for me to replicate locally. I couldn't figure out what the actual issue was. It was high visibility. People were telling me, my coworkers telling me I was making the country less safe and all this shit. Ooh. Like, it was crazy.
Savage.
You know how developers are, bro.
That's super savage.
It was savage on me, bro.
Wow. Are developers like that though? I
Yo, it was my friends. They were just teasing me. You know how
they meant that.
So eventually,
T-Bell, enemy of the state.
Bro, like enemy of the, yeah, I was like, America's top 10, bro. But eventually we figured it out. I found this DLL file that was a different size, and I just pointed out to our network guy. I was like, yo, this file is different than all. It was different on prod than it was on the test environment and our local dev environment. And he was like, And then he eventually did something to that. I'm talking, it was a DLL file buried deep within Windows. Because I was just like hunting. Because it was it went on for 6 days. And
6 days?
6 days, bro. 6. And I went into work and I worked on it all day for 6 days. And on that 6th day, I figured out the issue. and it was great because I was like, yo, I think this is the problem. We were about to be close to like, what we should have did was actually put something on the website. So when the FBI agents went to it, was an intranet. So what we should have did was put something on that network, on that website, was like, don't, or we know we're working on it, whatever, or a little maintenance homepage or whatever. But what was frustrating was to the agents, they would go in and do all that work, spend an hour creating their case, and then they couldn't save it. And that was getting a lot of feedback, a lot of negative feedback on the unit chief, and the unit chief would tell everybody else, and then Booz was getting a lot of heat. And they was just like, I don't know what's going on, but we figured it out.
I'm very interested to whoever was in charge of the infrastructure there. It seems really weird that, like you said, it was only one of the servers, right?
It was one server.
Like they should have been able to pinpoint that for sure.
But they thought it was the application. Everybody was pointing fingers at me and saying it was the application, and I'm like, bruh.
And that's why we do DevOps, everybody. That right there, that adversarial IT environment right there, like it's going over to the wall. If everyone wanted to know what the proverbial wall was, that's it right there. It's this is a dev problem right here. When it's
that's what happened, bro. That's exactly what happened. And then they actually hired somebody to make sure I forgot what the position was, but essentially his job was DevOps. Right after that, like a couple months after, they hired somebody specifically to make sure all the environments are the same. I don't know why they just didn't use, like AWS or something like that, or that way you can make sure you just Terraform and all the environments are the same. But that's not the way the government was working, at least not back then. But yeah, that's what happened.
Yep, point finger. I get it. I get it.
Parents out here with job creation,
right? Real talk. You created a job.
I'm creating jobs, bro. Come on, man.
Anyone else have any wild stories like that? Any wild? What's your worst experience?
I mean, I got an email from Kevin Plank.
Oh, that's not good.
Big body.
For everyone who doesn't know, that's the founder CEO of Under Armour.
Yeah, he's a billionaire. So it wasn't even my fault. It's like a long, complicated thing, but basically, like, if you're a VIP for Under Armour, like you're Steph Curry or like one of Kevin Plank's friends, like an athlete, we don't just like send you boxes of stuff. We do send you boxes of stuff, but we also give you like these free VIP points that you can use to just make purchases on the website. Like you can use them like real dollars. And there was like just apparently forever there's been hella bugs with it, so you can basically go negative like a crap ton, like you're negative 60,000 points, which is not good. And we fixed that, and then like Kevin Plank's getting emails and like calls from his friends and like stuff being like, hey, I can't place any more orders. And so Kevin Plank sent us an email, and like I specifically got CC'd on it, as in like, oh, what the just happened? And I'm like, well, this account is actually like negative 60,000 like over. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, should we continue to let them do this? And they're like, that's not your problem. We'll figure it out. And I'm like, cool. Let me know what you want to do.
That is
wow. That's power. That's crazy. It's his company though. I guess he could just give out free products. That's nuts. Damn.
Okay. I already told you all about my mine where I shut down those servers at the wrong time. I also I mean I've had a number of blunder. I mean, first off, I took down half of production today, and I'm a lead because I took a database dump that I wasn't really. I mean, it's a piece of the system that's going away. Actually, it's going away next week, and it kind of accounts for a big piece of the system still. And we're trying to get some archive stuff set up. So I took a database dump, and it started to shut down, and people started troubleshooting. And I was like, yeah, that's my bad, y'all. I probably shouldn't be taking this database dump right now, but I did, and I'm sorry, and I will stop it now. But then it finished, and so my job was complete. Site came back up, but it was only part of the site. So yes, take your dumps in private. That is managed chaos. That is 1,000% what you should do is take those dumps in private. I could have never even disclosed that. No one would have ever known, but I'm a good person. And I said, hey, that's on me. I took down the site. But people are always like, oh, that doesn't scare you. No, I've taken down products so many times in my career. So many times like I don't want, you know, I still am being paid by people. I don't want to say that I don't care, but it doesn't, I'm not like, I know that it's not the end of the world. And you know, it's okay. You'll get it back up and everyone will be okay, you know? So you know, that's my story for today. Okay. What? Oh, wait. I just had, where did I go? Oh, someone asked Doug, what's your verdict on the standing desk? Standing desk or nah? Which one, you like it?
Oh yeah, this is the greatest thing I've ever purchased.
Ever?
Nice.
Not ever. I mean, I bought better stuff than this. So real talk, like it took me like 3 years to buy this. I've been talking about buying the standing desk since like 2017, or like 2017, maybe 2018 at the earliest. Like, and like I kept being like, oh yeah, like I couldn't see one in person. We had these like crappy ones at work, and then eventually I just said fuck it and I bought it. And then getting it was a whole thing. Like it took like 4 months after they shipped it. FedEx lost it. But yeah, it's here now and it's great. I use it all the time. It's beautiful. I love looking at it. I recommend.
What's the brand?
I got the uplifts, and since I'm saying this on the internet, I expect them to send me a check now.
A check. Yeah.
From me some dollars.
Yeah, give me the dollars. Big facts.
We have
Also,
the Jarvis at work and it's nice.
and if you're not gonna send him the dollars, please just send me a desk. I would really like a desk. I'll take anything that's free, to be 100% honest. So, all right, yeah, I do. I really want a standing desk here. I've grown to like them a lot. I gave we got some Veridesk for my job, and they were giving them away after they got real standing desks, and my wife has mine, and I'm jealous. I'll see her. She'll be sitting there, and she'll be like, "Oh, I'm tired of sitting down," and whoosh, and now she's standing up. I'm like, "You're disrespectful. You know I want one of those. Like, you're disrespectful, and that's mean." And I have too many monitors to use one of those, so now I need a real standing desk now. All right, this is a good one. Tech fatigue and tool fatigue is a big thing. I think this was a question from Sean. I want to know how you all keep up with new dev tools and languages outside of work. You know, I'm talking about social media accounts, blogs, websites, digital media. You know, what do you use to stay up to date on these new tools and engineering trends over time?
Reddit, our programming, our web dev, our whatever there is. There's a lot of them. Are like each language has like a subreddit, so you look at that, and also Hacker News. It's pretty much go to keep up with it, and little XKCD to get little jokes and memes. But yeah,
definitely Hacker News. I just posted the link. Hacker News all day. That's the only one I'd use.
I found out everything from Twitter. Like, to be honest, if it's not on Twitter, I probably don't find out about it until someone tells me.
You still tweet?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I do. I tweet when I'm going live, and like, you know, I tweet every now and then.
What we should do is make coding TikToks. Keep up with the youths.
Big facts. You know, you gotta go where the youths are at. I feel you.
Coding TikToks.
What would be the first TikTok?
You can figure it out. I don't know.
All right, we're gonna do one. We're gonna do Sharky. Shakir said that's what he's been saying. Yeah, that's true. That is what you've been saying. But you didn't start.
There's a reason we're ignoring him too.
There's a reason why we haven't done it. Summersoft, let's not, please. You know, what's life if you're not trying? You feel me? No.
Fun story about Hacker News. It looks like Reddit because they were the first people to invest in Reddit.
Oh, recursion dance incoming. Oh yes. See, Wally Wally's got. See, you are made for this, Wally Wally. You are made for. You should start it up now. That's how you become famous and rich. You won't even have to code anymore. Just do some TikToks and people will watch you and you'll go viral. Good amount of devs to do that. The only TikToks I watch are the ones that Sharky Shreds sends me in our group chat. I don't really watch TikToks other than that, but he sends a lot of those, or he did, and someone else sends some TikToks as well. But all right, question. I think we talked about this a little bit before, but how much time outside of work do you spend trying to keep up, if any?
Oh wait, could you repeat that? I missed up.
Just how much time outside of work do we spend trying to just keep up with all the things, all the stuff you find out about on Hacker News? How much time outside of work do you spend trying to, you know, stay up to date and to keep up with all the changes in tech?
Woo. I feel like it ebbs and flows for me. Like especially like being like a grad student, it changes because it's just like you'll hear about something new and it's like, ooh, that might like apply to my research. So I might like spend a weekend like occasionally just diving into something. But I don't really like set apart time just like regularly. It kind of ebbs and flows as I need things.
I feel like I mostly use work time for that because like you can always pretty much justify like doing research into a new tool on the company dime, and I'm like, why not get paid for this? The times when I'm like looking at stuff on my free time is usually like I see something interesting on Hacker News or like R programming, and then I'm like, oh, let me try this out. But I have like a side project that I'm working on now, and so like I've been looking at a lot of stuff for that because I'm like, oh, maybe this will make my life slightly easier, and then I just kind of go down the rabbit hole, and then nothing gets done.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Shifting, doing your best to shift that time to work is what I try to do as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity in your job to explore new things, explore new tools, like while you're trying to solve certain problems. I actually spend it does ebb and flow for me. I do kind of a 2 months on, 2 months off type of thing, where 2 months I'll basically be trying to get really good at the things that I touch all the time, and picking up what I can pick up, you know, just through work and whatnot. And then usually I'll spend a focused amount of time. You know, I'll set some time to the side each week, and you know, for maybe 2 months or so, I'll really pick up some new skills and then chill for a little bit and pick up new skills, because you can't do it all the time. It's, you know, it's that cognitive load takes its toll. So be careful with it. Don't you don't need to go too hard. But yeah, I mean, you will have to commit more. The earlier you are in your career, you have to commit more time outside of kind of what you're doing to learn, just because, you know, you have so much to learn. And as you kind of pick these things up, things get easier to learn as well. So it just simply doesn't take me as much time to learn new things as it did, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, as well. So I don't need to spend as much time doing that either. But yeah, anyone else? All right, hold on. What else we got here? New dev tools. There might be all those. Let me see anything in the chat. Okay, so who asked this? Stonks Gains asks, what do you think of H1B faking experience to get entry level jobs? All right. We're asking all the questions.
Go for it. Hold on, what? Faking experience.
Don't be out here like Joanne the scammer, bro. That's
And can you repeat that, yo?
What do we think about of H1B, I guess visa holders faking experience to get entry level jobs? Which is a thing. So faking.
Is what it is.
So I've actually seen it done in both ways, but I think this is done, period, to be honest, but in both ways. I've seen entry level jobs get taken by people, and this is not just H1B visa holders, but people who have way more experience. I've seen people fake their experience to get entry level jobs, like dumb down their experience because they didn't, because they just wanted the job, and other way around. So maybe not specific to H1B, but like, what do you think about faking experience? What do you think about throwing that extra BS on your resume, about what you you know, saying that you know things that you don't?
I'd say be careful of that sort of thing, because it's just like the moment someone tries testing your skills and it becomes very obvious you have no idea what you're talking about. Let's say you say, well, I know TensorFlow, and then people start asking you about the intricacies of TensorFlow. And I would say that's a bad look, because like the last thing you want to do is end up getting blacklisted because you're out here lying just to get in the door.
kind of feel like go for it. You know, if it works. I mean, first of all, like H1B people are the only people like doing it, like faking it. The other thing is like I feel like half the time like you see these like, first of all, it's unnecessary because like almost all of these like job apps you see like they don't actually expect you to know all the stuff, even the stuff they say required. Like
Right.
if you put that, like you're probably good. Like also like you don't need that stuff to do the job anyway. So
Yeah.
unnecessary, but
So I would say this. I this is probably not what you're going to expect me to say, but I would say this. I would say that if you were to look through a job posting and you feel like you are a good candidate for that job, but you felt like what they, a lot of job postings just throw buzzwords on there. Having buzzwords on your resume do get you interviews, unfortunately. And I think that game was fine as long as you know that you may be quizzed on these things and you're risking this. I think it's fine, but I would only say do it if you. I wouldn't fake experience. I would embellish tool usage a bit. Like I know, there's times when like, yeah, I worked at a place that used Jenkins, in the very beginning, and I never did anything with Jenkins, but they're like, hey, I helped set up Jenkins pipelines, embellish a little bit because the jobs that I was looking for had those things on there, but I was confident that I could do those jobs. I was confident that the rest of my experience would help lend to me being effective in those positions. But again, you're risking things. I've been called out on things like that before. I've gotten caught. I've done lots and lots of interviews. But I'm not telling you to go out and lie for sure, but I do think a little bit of embellishment sometimes is okay. I think a resume is intended to be, the best of you is intended to be this, elite version of yourself, to be 100% honest. But yeah, I mean, but like, and if you get asked, like if someone asks you about it, like it's fine to say, hey, where I work, we use it for these things. Make sure you can speak about it. If you put it on there, make sure you can speak about it at least. But I do think it's okay to embellish a bit on the resume,
it doesn't take a lot of research to make it like not a lie. Like,
yeah,
I see a lot of people like they're just trying to get past like the automated filters. They'll be like familiar with like things, or like, and they'll like rank the proficiency with it. Like, so there's things that they're just like they've heard of, done a little bit of research in, and then things that like they're good at, and then things like they're experts in.
Yeah,
And like it's them like they have it on their resume, so like now they get past like the automated filters, and then like anyone who actually reads it knows like not to ask you questions about it because like you're saying like I'm not super good at this thing, I just know about it.
Yeah, but again, part of the game, like getting the job, it is a game. Is like understanding how to play the game, like how to get past those filters. Sometimes is important. Like I don't want to lie to anyone and say, hey, always be the like tell the truth. Yes, tell the truth. Again, I say a little bit of embellishment. Don't lie. But again, you got to learn how to play that game. If the buzzwords are going to get you in, get you the interview, and you're confident that you can in that interview sell the real you in that interview, then I say feel free to do it, to be 100% honest, because I don't even want to be mad at companies for this. Like it's time consuming to read through a bunch of resumes. Especially companies who are getting thousands of resumes for a position. There's going to be some automation in there. It's going to filter some things out. And hey, if you can trick the computer to get to the person, and you think you can woo the person, do what you got to do. Play the game. Play the game. I really do feel that way. I really do play the game. Do we need a new language? No more black white lists. I do. I mean, interestingly enough, I had never, like, with all the changes that are kind of happening with the master slave relationships in technology and stuff, it's very interesting because when this is just kind of how it's been. It's just kind of how it to you, it's like, oh, it's how it's been, and you kind of don't think twice about it. And then once all this stuff started happening and people started to actually start to post the etymology and everything, the beginnings of all these things, it was like, dang, we should change all of these things because it's kind of shitty, actually. But yeah, I mean, not all of it, but I think, again, words are words. I do think words are important, and I don't mind whatever it is. I'm a Washington Redskins fan, and I think they should change the name right now. 2000%. Absolutely at this moment. I don't care about the history and the heritage. Like, nah, bro, yo, it's making people like, it's bothering people. Change that shit, man. Please, just change it. So, but I do think so. I think so. I think it has negative undertones that you don't realize affect kind of the rest of your language and life and thought. To be 100% honest, that's just my that's my input on it. I don't know if anyone else has any input. Someone just asked, do we need to change? Do we need new language? No more black lists, white lists, etc. Anyone else feel strongly about that?
I'm thinking.
I don't know. I never really thought about it like that. Also, the whole like GitHub master and changing the domain, I like never really thought about it as in like I thought like a master key more like instead of like master slave. I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I never really thought about it in that context for those things. I think about it a lot for other things, but not necessarily like that example like Alex gave.
I 100% agree. I didn't until people started putting out some very legitimate historical context around like the actual creation of development terms, and I was like, "Whoo, all right, maybe yeah."
Put that link up in here.
I will. Yeah, I'll find some. I was very. It was very interesting because I think I was like you all. I like just didn't really cross the master slave one. Master branch never bothered me. Master slave did. I think more so just the word slave is just. I don't know. Always gonna strike a chord.
Hard word.
It's a hard word, you know. It's a tough word.
Do you think it accurately like reflects the relationship between like that concept?
I don't actually. At least in the forms that I don't because the master slave relationships and most tech things, the slaves are doing the same thing, or they're doing similar work to the master, and that's the problem. Not the problem, but like that's why it's not accurate. Like you're performing. It is a bit of a. It's more of a backup. It's more of a. I don't know. I don't think so actually. For at least for things like MySQL I just it doesn't accurately reflect it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I was like, it wasn't really a super like accurate like analogy anyway.
Yeah.
That's like one of the things where like I personally don't care one way or another, but like
Same.
If it bothers people, then like, is there really like why not change it?
Yeah, I agree.
I'm very curious on that. The history of those terms actually. I didn't know it was actually like when they came up with the tech terms that it was actually.
I mean, I don't think it was
ideology.
It wasn't directly. It wasn't like well, at least the stuff that I read, it wasn't like directly like like incredibly direct. But certainly worth thinking about. I'll try to find the ones that I was reading. I had to follow a bunch of Twitter threads. It was very interesting. But actual Tom, welcome to the panel. Thank you so much for joining in. Welcome the party of 5 Raiders. Good to have you. We're just talking all about tech, whatever comes to mind. We got another 10 minutes or so that we're gonna hang around. We're just whatever questions you might have, feel free to ask them in the chat. I'll queue them up. But we've kind of worked through our list, which is great, which is really good. But I always have questions. So see, white guy in engineering space. I'm grateful to hear you guys' opinion. Most taken here. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I've been most excited about the most during all of this. Everything that's going on right now is it's exhausting sometimes, a lot of times, but like everyone's willingness to listen right now has been pretty interesting. Like it's been like refreshing actually. Now again, it kind of sucks sometimes because like, man, I kind of don't want to talk about this right now, but at the same time, like I think there's been you can't ignore people's willing I fully expected complete backlash for all of this, like a lot of people like actively not listening because they just didn't agree with what's going on, but there's been people who are incredibly open to just kind of hearing things out and just open-minded and just like, all right, hey, you know, if you're telling me this is a thing, I'm willing to hear this out. So, you know, I do appreciate that. I really do. Even though I just want to be clear with everyone, it is exhausting. I actually had someone messaging me like, yo, you haven't spoken about any of this stuff that's going on. You know, you got to use your platform for this stuff. And it's like, yo, I feel you. I hear you. I really do hear you. But go look at my Facebook for the past 10 years. Go look at how vocal I've been for the past 10. But I've been doing this forever. Like, it's exhausting. And this is my you know, I still am dealing with all the same stuff you're all dealing with. So just be cognizant of that when you're talking to people, when, you know, when you're looking for the information. Everyone's not going to be as willing to share, just because, again, it is a bit exhausting.
I agree with that. Yeah, you're not on anybody's schedule to respond or to feel how you feel about certain. I just came from they had a little thing out there in front of City Hall, I think it is, like building, like right out there. There was a little circle. I stopped by. I was just riding around on the bike, and I was out there for like 2 hours, man. And it was a peaceful, nice little get together. Everybody was out there, all ages, all colors. It wasn't as big as the ones I had been to earlier, but it was the message was very clear and very. Like, I've never seen this before, and I'm from the South, so I've seen some things. Let me just tell you, but I've never seen this before. So I agree with what you're talking about. You don't have to, you know, people process things differently too. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't have to talk about things or really show that you're talking about it or how, you know, that you want to respond when people want you to, especially when it happened. I can't tell you how many text messages and phone calls and LinkedIn connections I was getting from people that, like, all kinds of people. And I'm like, I've been here this whole time. Like, where y'all been at? Like, my phone was blowing up, bro. That's just my experience. But I don't want to stir the conversation to something deeper than what we're talking about. But I just had to piggyback on what you had said.
Yeah. Dope. Yeah, let's steer back towards, you know, I mean, again, it's I feel you. I understand. It's a tough, again, I feel you. We do have a good question here though, because I actually am making a video about this right now about the you know, are certs worth it, the effectiveness of certifications in the industry. So 3LPSY, I'm gonna I have 4 different ways that I want to pronounce that, but I'm just going to read it out just like that for now. Do any of us have certs? Does anyone have certs here? Do we think they're worth it? Which ones are, which ones aren't? Any insight on certifications?
I mean, I don't have any certs. I don't think they're, I think, like, if the question is whether they're worth it, it depends on what else you have. Like, anything you put on your resume looks better, right? So if you have, you know, a bachelor's, adding certs looks better than just having a bachelor's, I guess. You have a master's, adding certs to it just, you know, looks better. I mean, do you need to do so? Like, if you have a bachelor's, do you need to go get certs? Probably not. If you have a master's, do you need to go get certs? Probably not. Like, if I didn't have, you know, a bachelor's, would I probably go get some certs? Like, maybe. I mean, they're really they're a lot of work. Like, they're not easy. Like, there are some that are easy, but most of them are not easy. Like, they're very difficult. I've looked into, like, some of the AWS certs, and even those, like, really do take, like, some time to study for. The AWS ones are, to me, like, the ones that probably make the most sense to get, because they really do, like, make you stand out, especially if you're, like, doing DevOps ones. I think the Azure ones are starting to be like that too. I've never seen anyone care about the Google ones for the most part.
Anyone else have any? Like, have any certs, carrying certs right now?
I don't have any.
I had the AWS developer and solutions architect associate, but I think they've both definitely, the developer one definitely just expired. The solutions architect might have just expired as well. I'm going for the solutions architect pro pretty soon. Do I think they're valuable? I think it depends on the industry. I agree with Doug. I think that they can help. I think they're a tool. I think they're a tool that you can use to help you do certain things. I think on their own, Are they all that great? I'm not really sure they're all that great on their own. I think the AWS certs right now, I think hold the most weight for especially for the amount of how difficult it is to get them. I think Cisco certs are very valuable if you really want to go networking. Again, you know, it's pretty specific, but it's a pretty tough certs to get. And I think if you're trying to get into, you know, something like cybersecurity, I have seen Network Plus and Security Plus be essential at places. Do they give you the information you need? I don't know, you know, debatable whether or not they, you know, will teach you how to do the things that you need to do. But I think the active setting for them can help a lot. I actually think certs are more effective as you get a little farther along in your career, not to help get you jobs, but I think it gets tough to, like, you know, a lot, and it gets, you know, you're spending a bunch of time at work solving problems, and you don't want to be learning things outside of work and stuff. It gives you a mark to hit. Like, it's like, oh, I need to go learn this thing. I want to go learn Terraform. You know, it's like, if I go try to learn on my own, like, I might, you know, this and do that. At least the act of studying for this test kind of gives me a goal, a place that I can get to, that, like, will kind of keep me focused a little bit, especially when I don't want to be studying anyway. I think you can use it as, you know, a little motivational factor, but I don't know. I don't know that it's incredibly valuable. I don't think you need them. I don't think they're necessary. I think they can be useful for helping get in the door at certain places. Some, you know, AWS certs can bring companies money. Certain level of AWS partnership, you know, having a certain amount of people who are certified at a certain level in a company can bring them money, can actually that can turn into tangible monetary gain. So I will keep it out for stuff like that. That'd be helpful. Anybody else? Do we mess with Terraform, Packer, HashiCorp at all? I do. What about but I feel like I'm the only, like, ops guy here. Thanks, I do.
Don't call yourself an op, man.
That's fair. Culturally relevant. I am not an op. I am an ops guy. I'm not. I'm a DevOps. I'm a DevOps practitioner. Thank you, Managed Chaos. Yesterday, I'm a DevOps practitioner. But yeah, does anyone mess with anything like that? That's actually a really good question, because I think a lot of you come from more of a dev background. I guess what? Yeah, have any of you guys messed with those? Do you mess with them at all?
I have.
Ooh,
These are all new names to me.
That's fair.
Do not mess with him at all.
Ooh-wee. So everyone who doesn't know, Cabal is that's actually Doug. And first off, I just want to say thank you to my friends. Since y'all don't watch my stream usually. No, I'm joking. Completely joking. Thank you, bro. I really appreciate your support, man.
That's literally what I did. I was just like, I don't be watching all the time.
No, dope. I really do appreciate it. Really do. I'll use those subs to maybe buy you next time when we can actually meet in person. I think we can now. I think we're allowed to, you know, be in parties of more than 10.
No, I don't want anything. Get me a dub in Warzone. That's all I want.
Big facts. Let's do it right after this. Let's really do this right after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Okay. That was a good question. I mess with Terraform and Packer, Ansible, all that stuff. Just real quick, as provisioners, Terraform is my favorite provisioner. I don't really like runtime configuration, so I actually stay away from, if I can, I'll stay away from things from configuration management tools like Ansible or Chef or Puppet. And I prefer to pre-build what I need with Packer. To be 100% honest, but you know, Ansible is my favorite configuration management tool, if you were wondering. But that's it. We are at 9:03, and first, what I want to do is thank all of our panelists for taking time out of your days. I know your time's super valuable. You know, we got someone getting their PhD on here. We got people who make a lot of money on here, and you took your time to kind of chill with us as you've done before. So thank you for being supporters of the channel. Thank you for you know, lending your information to us. We really do appreciate it. So thanks. So from the bottom of our hearts, as the mastermind community, thank you. Yeah, I don't really have anything else besides congratulations, everyone. You are now done with deCoded apprentice level course. So you're done the first of 3 courses. We'll be moving on now to the journeyman level of the course, the intermediate level of the course, where the difficulty is actually, at least so far, it's not done yet. It's not completely done yet, but it's the difficulty goes up quite a bit, actually, and I'm gonna end up adjusting that. But we're gonna be building some cool things. I think it's gonna be okay though. I think it's an approachable level of difficulty. I think it's gonna be pretty fun. A schedule will be going up tonight before I go to sleep about what's coming up in the next few weeks. Probably won't be streaming again until at least Wednesday. But we're gonna be hopping in with a few workshops. Linux is going to be one that we're running in the next couple weeks. Right now it's going to be a 6-parter, I think, for Linux. So if you really want to dive in and get good at Linux, get good at command line, really understand that stuff, we're going to be on Linux. We're going to be doing 2 container workshops. We're going to be running at 2 different times because that's been the most requested of all of them. It'll probably be a session during the week and a session on like Saturday morning or something. Or maybe afternoon, to be honest. Still trying to figure that one out. But the schedule will be going up about that. So Docker, and really understanding that, really how to Dockerize applications. And there will be an orchestration one as well. There'll be a whole Kubernetes course coming along, but there will be like a orchestration one as well. And pipelines will be starting back up really, really soon. I think a week and a half from now, pipelines will be starting back up, revamped and ready to go. And then keep an eye out for when the next iteration of these is going to start, probably in the next, it's probably in 3 weeks that we go to the next level. So take some time, start to implement what you know, see if you can just practice, just play around, get to know each other, talk to each other in the channels, do some pair programming with somebody that you met in the chat. I think that would be fun, because I actually spent way too much time last night when I should have been doing other work, after Will talked about his time at Pivotal, trying to figure out a format in which we could genuinely implement some paired programming strategies between a couple people, between a bunch of people. I have a paid Zoom account that actually will allow 200 people to join, and Zoom has some breakout sessions. They have a breakout session a feature. So I think we're going to try to set up a couple of pair programming sessions where you basically get in groups of 3 or 4, kind of takes you off to try to work through a product or project. And I think it's gonna be fun to do that a few times. I think it will be really fun. So if you're interested in that, keep your eyes out, because I think that will be really fun for me as well. But that's it. That is all we have. Happy Thursday night, everyone. Who are we gonna go over and raid tonight? Also, again, congratulations. We did make it all of the 8 weeks on time. We are on time, gang. We never made it past 7 o'clock. Terrence, we really messed up last time. We were there like 7:03 all the time. 7:02, 7:03. We were getting coffee at 7:59. We'll be grabbing coffee at 7:59. We made it 7 o'clock for 8 straight weeks.
That's what's up, bro.
So congratulations to us. But yeah, like I said, keep an eye out for that schedule. Social media, keep an eye out here. I'm gonna put it on here as well. We'll be back most likely Wednesday, maybe Tuesday, but probably Wednesday of next week. We'll be back, and we'll be on a pretty normal schedule. We'll be building things as well. That's what we'll actually be doing Wednesday. We'll actually be hopping straight back into the Operation Quarantine project. We'll reintroduce the project to everyone, and we'll re-get some structure around it. We're gonna operate in that like it's a real programming project at a company. We're gonna actually flesh out the tickets that we have, and we're gonna build this stuff. But yeah, take a break. As I'm saying, you don't gotta hop in there. I'm just gonna be doing things. You want to hop in where you hop in. If you want to take a break, relax. You reset your mind and get ready for the next go. But who are we going over to see? Who's streaming tonight? Let's see. Let's head over to the science and tech section, and J.W is doing some let's get somebody with a lower view count. The Peach is back on. We've headed over there a couple times. Everybody's building games, literally everybody. It makes sense. Twitch is a gaming platform, but literally everyone's building games. Yeah, we're gonna head over to Mr. Ravayer. who is coding in PHP, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Let's just go say what's up. Not Cirque, absolutely. We're about to hop on COD right now. Actually, let me. You know what I'm gonna do real quick. Let me send you guys my let me send you guys my username. I have no idea what my username is. How do I find it? What am I doing right now?
It's Stone Cold Stream Austin.
No, okay, so Stone Cold Stream Austin is my game streaming channel. Stone Cold Stream Austin is it, but like, what's my actual? Wait, I can't think. Call of Duty. No. Warzone is. Oh, you know what? I think my computer is not working. Hold up. Oh no, it's working.
It's your Blizzard account, right?
Yeah, what's my? Yeah. Can you share my? Do you got it?
You go on you just go on the Blizzard launcher and then like look at your name.
That makes sense. It's pretty simple. Bad Gamer, battle.net. Come on, go ahead and log in. There we go. Where'd it go? Oh, it started an update. That sucks. But where did it open up to? I am best regards 1857. Best regards number 1857. We're gonna get some wins tonight. If anybody ever wants to play, add me. We can definitely play sometime. But let's go ahead over to Mr. Ravayar. I don't know what his name is. But Ray, just say hello. See if you want to learn a little bit of PHP, JavaScript, HTML, CSS in preparation for Domination. Domination will be coming in a few weeks. Domination is going to be our web dev course. Again, Domination, capital DOM, document object model. But yeah, it's very exciting stuff. I don't know how to spell this guy. Ravav. I can't type. All right, we're heading over. We're saying hi. We're out of here in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone have a great night. I counted down way too fast because we just got to 1. Peace out.
Peace.